Hello. This video is going to be entitled Why I'm No Longer a Christian. This is not a video that I take great happiness in doing to pick apart at Christianity and religion in general. But it's a video that whether I want to do it or not, I feel like I have to because it was a long process that I went through, and if I can give somebody else possibly a shortcut, only because when I was first trying to figure out what the answers were for myself personally, I didn't really know what direction to go in, how to even begin. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what affected me personally. These are my personal reasons. They're not really emotional reasons. They're more logical and evidence reasons. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. Number one, claims of Mary's virgin birth resulted from a mistranslation of Hebrew into Greek. The important thing to recognize right here is where it says the young woman. And notice that when the Greek is translated into English, it now says virgin. Number two, the four Gospels were written anonymously and the authors were not eyewitnesses. So it actually wasn't until the year 180 that there was authors actually connected to the Gospels. Before that, they were just circulated as anonymous writings. Third reason here is Jesus's message was actually only for the Jews. Number four, Jesus's prophecy failed. The coming of the kingdom of God within the lifetime of the people he was talking to. Number five, in 3 out of 4 of the Gospels, Jesus makes no claim of himself being divine. Number 6, and this is a big one, Paul's theology overtaking Jesus's. In this particular example that I'm about to show you, I'm first going to do a quote from Jesus talking about how he's not there to destroy the law. And then the next quote will be from, if not Paul, then a follower of Paul's theology about doing away with the law. So you can see by the two different versions, they're completely different. They're actually exact opposites. So that's a problem. That's definitely an issue. So, and you know, it's funny that Christians actually follow what Paul says more so than Jesus, because if Christians actually followed what Jesus said, they'd all be Jewish, which is kind of ironic in today's world. This last one was the last straw for me. When I found out about this, it really upset me. It made me angry that I had been a Christian for so many years. Like I fell for it. I felt naive when I found this out. And that is in the first gospel written chronologically, Mark, at the end, there was no resurrection sighting. So it just ends, and I'll show you the last line, and that's the way it originally ended. And then they tacked on a new ending at the later on, which is really upsetting. So one of the things I stumbled on in this process was the Atheist Experience on YouTube, and started watching their videos. And at times I thought that Matt Dillahunty was exaggerating when he said we had no original copies and all we have is copies of copies of copies. And I thought, oh, that can't be right, and look it up, and yeah, that's the way it is. So I was surprised about that. Um, after I realized that the ending of Mark had been changed and all the resurrection sightings were tacked on, then it was at that point that I became an atheist, and I came out as an atheist. Um, and it was after that that I started reading books by Bart Ehrman, and very good books, great writer. Learned one thing I learned from one of his books is that the casting of the first stone is not an original story, which I find very interesting because a lot of people bring that up. So right there, that's an example of something that isn't original to the Bible. It wasn't in the earliest copies that we have. Also, I'd like to just say something about people saying, Christians would have to be more moral than atheists. And I would say, look at the statistics of prison populations. And you could say, oh, well, they converted to Christianity once they were in prison. But I think the numbers speak for themselves on the morality of atheists compared to Christians and other religious groups. Also, there are counter arguments that I'd like to address a little bit to some of the things I've said. One is, if there's no God, then how can there be something called objective morality? And I would say that it's been proven that morality is actually biologically based. And all you have to do is look at behavior of animals. Animals with a high level of consciousness. Okay, they exhibit sympathy, empathy, cooperation, fairness, reciprocity. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. So our morality is actually a more refined version of what is found in other animals. Also, like to just address people who say Mark is not the first gospel written. I just want to say Matthew and Luke actually follow the order of Mark, and when they usually follow the order of Mark, and when they don't, they diverge in their own directions. So that just it tells you that Mark is actually the backbone of what Matthew and Luke were based on. Also in Mark, Jesus is portrayed as being more human with more human emotions, where Matthew and Luke portray Jesus with less emotion. So I think that was an evolution as far as it was a theological change that was done on purpose. Also, Mark is less polished than Matthew in style. So it would make less sense for the changes to be less polished instead of more polished. It makes sense that somebody looked at it and thought that they could fix it or make it better. So that's about it. That's the video. Thank you for watching.